You said something awkward 3 days ago, and you're still thinking about it. You're sure everyone in that room noticed. You're sure they're still thinking about it too. They're not. Most of them forgot within minutes because they were doing exactly what you're doing right now, thinking about themselves. You walk through most days with a quiet background assumption that people are noticing you, your outfit, your mistake, your awkward pause, your every visible flaw, far more than they actually are. This isn't arrogance. It's a specific, well-documented mental habit almost everyone shares, called the spotlight effect, the consistent overestimation of how much other people are actually paying attention to you. And once you understand it clearly, an enormous amount of unnecessary anxiety simply stops making sense. Here's the mechanism in plain terms. You are, understandably, the main character of your own experience. Every moment, every mistake, every awkward interaction is filtered directly through your own attention, which makes it feel enormous, unforgettable, impossible for anyone else to have missed. But everyone else is running the exact same experience, centered entirely on themselves. You are, to nearly everyone around you, a background character in their story, noticed briefly, then replaced almost immediately by their own concerns, their own small embarrassments, their own internal monologue that has nothing to do with you at all. The spotlight effect feels true because your own memory of the moment is so vivid. You remember exactly what you said, exactly how it felt, exactly what you imagine everyone thought. That vividness is entirely internal. It belongs to you, not to them. The people around you experience that same 30 seconds as one small, unremarkable moment among hundreds of other small moments happening in their own heads that day. Not as the significant, lingering event it became in yours. Here's the specific freeing truth underneath all of this. Most people are far too occupied managing their own insecurities, their own internal commentary, to spend much real attention analyzing yours. The coworker you're sure judged your comment is probably replaying their own comment from the same meeting. The stranger you're sure noticed your stumble is probably thinking about something that happened to them an hour earlier. Nearly everyone is the main character of their own movie, and you are at most a background extra in scenes they'll forget by dinner. If the spotlight you've been imagining isn't actually there, then a huge portion of the fear built around it doesn't have anywhere solid to stand either. The outfit you were sure people were judging, the mistake you were sure everyone caught, the awkward thing you said that felt like it defined the whole interaction. Almost none of it registered the way you feared. Not because people are kind necessarily, but because they were simply looking elsewhere, at themselves, the entire time. There's something genuinely liberating available here. Once it actually sinks in, you have far more room to try, fail, look awkward, and move on than your anxious imagination has been telling you. The failed attempt nobody actually remembers a week later. The outfit nobody actually clocked. The stumble that felt enormous in the moment and evaporated from everyone else's memory before they even got home. This isn't permission to be careless. It's permission to stop performing for an audience that was never really watching that closely in the first place. It's worth naming directly why this feels harder now than it might have a generation ago. Platforms built around visibility have made the imagined spotlight feel more real, even though the underlying psychology hasn't actually changed. A post that gets a few comments feels like it was scrutinized by everyone who saw it. In reality, most people scrolled past in under a second, already thinking about the next thing in their feed. The audience feels larger and more attentive than it actually is, because the platform is specifically designed to make you feel watched, not because anyone is actually studying you as closely as it feels. If people aren't remembering your small mistakes and awkward moments, what do they actually remember? Usually something much simpler: how being around you generally felt. Nobody's holding on to the specific word you fumbled 3 weeks ago. What tends to stick is whether you are kind, whether you are honest, whether being around you is easy or draining. The details you're agonizing over are almost never the details anyone else retained. A lot of exhausting, careful self-monitoring exists entirely for the benefit of an audience that was never paying nearly as much attention as the performance assumed. Picture how much energy goes into managing an imagined impression, moment to moment, compared to how much attention anyone actually has left over to receive it. Most of that effort is spent for nobody in particular. A performance staged for a mostly empty room, exhausting precisely because it was built for a scrutiny that was never really there. This understanding doesn't erase every moment of self-consciousness the first time you hear it. It's remembered over and over, each time the old fear shows up, noticing the imagined spotlight and asking honestly whether it was ever really there, or whether it was just you alone, under a light nobody else installed. None of it happens all at once, but it accumulates into someone who takes up a little more room, tries a little more freely, and carries a little less imaginary weight from rooms that moved on within minutes. Nobody is watching you that closely. They never really were. They were standing under their own imaginary spotlight the entire time. If this reached you today, share it with someone who needs the reminder.